Because
Okay.
I think about to cancel somebody.
Tammy and Mr. Lataillade. I want to confirm with you all, she's really getting messy when she says the word honey. Am I right?
Yeah, she tries to soften it a little bit.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on one accord. I'm not even going to look at her. This is very messy. No, I'm just kidding. I can handle this degree of messy. So, what are my thoughts on cancel culture? I think I see the pros and cons of cancel culture.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, what's
How are you
going
doing?
on? Yes.
It's another one of those kind of days in LA. I don't know if it wants to rain or. You think it'll?
It never rains in LA.
It does so, and it can really rain. So I want to say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Dallas, Van Brown.
We got a great conversation ahead of us today.
Oh, there's Steve right there.
Just waved, and let me see.
Steve, we've got to figure out. Shami's not in the.
Send a request.
We're trying to.
Send a request.
Oh, you sent him a request?
Yes.
So I'm so excited to see. Hi, G. Kelly. Tracy Knight. It's good to see everybody. I've got on my Joie Noir today, you guys. I mean, you can't see it from here, but that's Keandra Lockett's company. And I'm okay, Steve. We see you. We're trying to invite you, and let's see. We're trying it again. So we'll see if we're getting it through.
We're sending the request. And we see he's here.
He's here. Steve is here, but I don't think we're doing it. It says you're unable to join there, so I'm not
sure what's going on.
Don't leave us, Steve. Shami will be back because we might be doing something a little wrong.
No? We're asking.
It's just, it still says Steve is unable to join for some crazy reason.
Yes. So we'll try it again.
Yeah, we're still trying to get him. In the meantime, I want to remind you guys to.
There's something here. Hold on, we're gonna. I'm sending the invite.
Well, Shami will be back real soon too. Steve, don't go anywhere. We're trying to get. Here's Shamel right here. We tried to get him on and we couldn't. So we need our producer.
Unable to join.
Hi, Shami. So you're gonna try again. Steve. Hi, Ballard. Hi.
I'm trying to come on here.
Hi, New Love R. Is that right?
I'm not sure what he's doing. That's,
Steve's not even coming on. Well, don't leave us, guys. So in the meantime, we want to tell you, please join our YouTube channel, and you got to subscribe on the YouTube channel. We really need that.
I know, keep going.
So we really need you to, subscribe and get in there with us. Well, Steve, let's see. What else is happening though, Claude? You're looking very dapper today.
Thank you.
Hi, Richard McReynolds and Jazzy Bits.
No, we're going to talk about this Clark Sisters program that he's working on.
Steve is working on.
A number of things that he's working on, kind of give us some insights. He does his own.
Oh, we've got Joelle Quinn on.
Thing going on.
Yep.
Maybe he'll drop some knowledge on some folks.
Exactly.
So he can bring some things to our understanding. So I'm looking forward to it myself.
Yeah, me too. We haven't had such an in-depth talk about
Joelle. How you doing?
Hollywood. Joelle, you are so funny. Hi, Kelly. I mean, not Kelly. That's my sister, Ronnie. As a matter of fact, I've got on some of her earrings today like I do every week. These are some Mack artistry with my Joie Noir. And we've got Robinson 3141.
Joie Noir is Jolie. Is the two sisters?
Yep. That's the two sisters. And see, we're that's right. I don't know how you can still see us when that sheet is up.
Right there.
Oh, I'm slow.
We're good. So it's not gonna rain. You know, we
You don't think it's gonna rain?
We probably had our rain for the season already.
Okay.
There's a lightning and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, we can't deal with rain, and we definitely cannot drive in it.
Oh, we love you, Jarrell.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Jarrell, call back. Call me. And Troy.
Why don't you tell him what it was like working on the
I'm trying to wait. There he is.
Okay. All right.
Now, can you hear him?
Okay.
Hey.
Oh, there we go.
Now we're rocking.
Now we're popping.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah,
Hey, my friends.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? You, man.
I think it was me. I was trying to do this through my computer, and maybe it just wasn't allowing me to do that.
Don't let you do it on a computer.
All right. Well, we've got some really exciting stuff to talk about.
Let's talk about it.
Yes. Well, first of all, I wrote something about you, and I've got to read what I wrote. Okay. This young man is a fascination and a wonder to me. We are actually, guys, traveling in real high cotton with Mr. Steve Jones here. If you don't know who he is, you should. And, he has worked with the likes of Jennifer Lopez, Oprah Winfrey, Regina King, Angela Bassett, Tiffany Haddish, Sterling K. Brown, Issa Rae, Snoop Dogg, and the Clark sisters in various capacities. And we're so proud of you. I want you to know this bright and shining star, Steve Jones. So many people have tried to be in the industry, and they come to LA and say, oh, I'm in it, but they're really not in it. They're trying to be in it. You're actually in the industry. And you've also been, you ain't faking Hollywood. You're actually doing something. And you've been a repeat guest on shows like Anderson Cooper's 360, Tonight with Don Lemon, and Showbiz Tonight. We've become friends. I admire him greatly. He's here to talk about a fabulous new project with the Clark sisters. And we're going to dig a little into our current events and all things Steve Jones. Everybody, let's welcome Steve Jones.
I'm from the 90s. I do raise the roof. I'm from the 90s.
Pump it up.
How you doing? I don't want to waste time. I want to talk about this project that you're doing with the Clark sisters it's Hollywood Confidential. Let's talk about that first, because that's the most important thing, I think.
Okay, let's go. So back in March, we all had our pandemic testimonies. You all, of course, we're friends, so you know my struggles. And we were scheduled to do the Clark sisters live at Vegas. Every year we go back to gospel because I'll never depart from where I came up from. I'm going and looking for those Steve Jones who didn't know what he was doing 20 years ago. And so we were committed to go honor the Clark sisters, which is amazing, right before their biopic. And then COVID came and it changed the landscape for all of us. And so I lost a myriad of projects and was trying to work my way back to a good space. And at the top of this year, I had the idea, why don't we just get with the times? I'm not that old yet, but my mindset is very old school. I was like, I don't want no new way, but here we are. So I called the Clark sisters and said, can we pick up where we left off? And I promise you to find a streaming partner to get the word out about honoring you. So it's our first time ever sharing publicly. Every time we've done these events with Angela Bassett and Tiffany Haddish and Snoop Dogg, it's been private. If you missed it, you missed it. But this will be the first time that we share it on a grand stage. So the event is coming out this coming Sunday, 7 Central. So that's 5 o'clock for Pacific. And I'm excited.
Okay, I'm going to post that too. I'll do a live post on it because who are some of the people in it?
And we'll swing back to that before we close. So that the people that's joining us can get that.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it again, but tell everybody who's in it now.
All right, so the special features appearances by Vicki, Mack, Lataillade.
Oh, wow, man.
Let's just take a time out right there to get the legend. I hope I'm not ruining your flow, your interview flow, but to be talking to the two of you and to befriend now your daughter and your family, it's just mind-blowing to me because we were the last generation, and those of us who were born in the 80s, who read linear notes, the album credits.
Yes.
And I would read your names in all of the greats, from Kirk Franklin to, and everybody had a name, the way you did branding. Dorinda was the Rose of Gospel.
Yes, that's right.
Byron Cage was the Prince of Pain. So I was modeling and patterning my career after everything that you all did. So to be on live
great.
20 years later, God's timing, and I had to go around the mulberry bush to get to you, but we're here now. So
Telling you so. You may not know this, but you're a rival of Claude's. Guess why?
What'd I do?
You went to Ohio State and he went to Michigan.
OH. I'm sorry.
God blue. All right.
You guys are big. You guys are big rivals. Now, were you born in Ohio?
Yeah, born in Youngstown, Ohio, raised in upstate New York, went to college at the Ohio State University. I'm not going to apologize for it.
Hey.
Yeah, and there you are. So, I'm serious. Everybody says they're in the industry and they're doing TV and movies and all this. You've actually done it. How did all this get started? I mean, in college, you were doing amazing things. Let's talk about it, because this is rare.
Full circle actually goes back to the two of you. To answer your question from before, on this special, you'll see Lettucey, you'll see Jermaine Dupri, you'll see Faith Evans, you'll see Mary, you'll see Donald Lawrence, you'll see the great Anjanou Ellis, one of the greatest actors of all time, who played the mother of the Clark sisters. Oh, yes. So many people are coming next to my favorite, Vicki, Mack, Lataillade, and you got to say Mack. You can't just say Lataillade. And to answer your second question, how this came about, I saw the DVD in 2003. And I can't...
What DVD was this?
Your DVD, Dorinda Clark Cole Live in Atlanta.
Yes. Yes.
And at the time, I was in the mind frame of, if I'm saved, I can't do things traditional or like normal. I've got to, and you guys were out the box. That was not a faith-based production. That was a mainstream production that just happened to have faith-based talent in it. And so I knew then I could see myself. One thing I say in the office every time we're producing a special is representation matters. Who are we speaking to?
Yes.
Who are we going to be inspiring? So you all inspired me through that DVD. And another funny moment, Brother Steve was at the end interviewing people.
That's right.
And I said, well, my name's Brother Steve. He's the Brother Steve. And I could see myself reflected in your programming. So I brought Dorinda Clark Cole to Ohio State and Karen Clark Sheard to Ohio State, respectively, and patterned after everything you guys did. The second DVD you all did with Dorinda with the flower rose petals in the ground, we recreated that at Ohio State University. 7,000 people came out. So you all were the blueprint for me to get to what I'm doing now.
Wow. That
Praise God. Thank you.
Really means a lot. Thank you. Sometimes you think you're just doing things and you don't realize sometimes how you really impact people. So, that really means a lot.
Can I say one thing? I hope he's still here, but I see Jay Black. I saw Jay Black, James Black in the comments. He came as an intern at the time for Gospel Centric and helped to oversee artist relations. So I got one witness in the comments, and that's all I need. So Jay Black, James and his wife were responsible for getting me to Los Angeles and helping me to transition. So he's a part of my journey. I love that guy.
Wow. Yeah, we want to pray for Jay every time I can think about it.
Just to lift up his wife.
Lift up his wife, and she's recovering.
Full healing for her.
Yes.
In Jesus' name.
Amen. We like doing general stuff, but sometimes you just got to ask what you are, saved,
Amen.
And talk about, God's grace and the things that we need. But I was wondering, when you started working with major brands, with your targeting initiatives, with clients like Coca-Cola and L'Oreal. You got to tell me how you worked that, honey, because I didn't say nothing about that in the video.
I always had a heart to do cheap. Okay, let me start that over. Affordable or free events. And so while other promoters in the city, I was in Columbus, Ohio at the time, were charging 20, 30, 40, no, 40, 50, and $100 to get into a faith-based concert. We were doing $5 with a student ID, $10 in advance, and $15 at the door, so that people could come and experience what we were doing. So in order to power those events and keep them free for attendees or low cost, I had to learn how to partner with brands. So I went to B school at Ohio State, and I took the information that I learned there and distributed to what we were doing. And so the very first, we brought Mary for our third event and final event, because that's when I came to Los Angeles. But Mary, we were able to secure Coca-Cola for a wonderful amount. And L'Oreal reached out, but then we ended up doing a partnership with L'Oreal at a later date because of the buzz that we created. And then Southwest Airlines was our air partner, and Alert Network was our network partner. So I was still in college.
Yeah, I mean, you just called up and asked.
You started it. If it wasn't for the blueprint here, I wouldn't have even been in a space to do that. So you all empowered me to do what I did.
Crazy. Oh man, that's incredible. I mean, because you've also worked. Your clientele has included Warner Brothers with the movie Creed, the Weinstein, which is kind of. What can we say about that? It is what it is. But Quentin Tarantino, you did The Hateful Eight, VH1 Fox, a host of prominent entertainers. Tell me about that. A host of prominent entertainers.
I kind of saw the writings on the wall when it came for me in talent management. I needed to maintain good relationships with talent. So when I did events, they would return my call. So I dipped and exited stage left and started doing marketing for studios. So I've been a part of several amazing campaigns and amazing teams. Anytime I was a team, it was the multicultural team, aka the Black folks. And, most times we got a smaller budget, but we made the most impact. So I was a part of the campaign for Empire when that show first launched, before it launched, excuse me. And from there, the company I was working with brought me into, I've always been independent, but I've partnered with other companies, other agencies. So that other agency partnered with my agency to do Creed, the very first installment, which was massive. And then they need us anymore because we did such a good job. They're like, all right, well, we got it now from here. That led to Quentin Tarantino and doing The Hateful Eight, starring Samuel L. Jackson there. And so those three movies were my biggest, and that TV show were my biggest projects. And then I ran into a situation where I realized they were tapping me to market for African Americans, but they really didn't want my input. And I realized the power is not in marketing because they can force you what to do, but it was in storytelling. So I switched gears. I stopped taking accounts. I had probably 5 movies in queue, but once I realized what I was facing internally, I've always known, what's the old country song? Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. So I ran, and I went and I started telling people I'm a producer, which I've been producing events and spots for years with brands, but now I'm doing it for myself, and it worked. And that's how I got Black Love. Black Love, they came to a Hollywood Confidential I was doing, the creator of Black Love on OWN, and it wasn't out yet. And he said, I got a project for you. And the rest is history, guys. I got my first producer credit, and I ran.
I'm trying to get them on Black.
You gotta tell me about Black Love.
The creator of that show's name is Tommy Oliver, dear friend of mine. I just hung up with him before you guys. I can connect you and make the moments happen.
That's my agent. Our agent is talking.
And
love for a long time.
Yeah, they could use you. I'm no longer a part, but my dearest friend in my first show. So anything I could do to connect you.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Well, see, there you go. So what do? They just celebrate Black folks that are together?
It's literally the formula is so simple, y'all. It's normalizing marriage for African Americans. A lot of our others, they don't believe that we love the same.
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
The Tommy's wife's name is Cody Oliver. She created the show. She received the idea from God for the show when she heard a pundit saying that Michelle Obama and President Obama's love was not real. That you couldn't be a politician and a lawyer and have this form of Black love. So she immediately thought seeing is believing. And she took that negative blog report and flipped it into a TV show, brought me on to produce and bring the talent, and the rest is history. So that's how that show was birthed.
Craziest thing I've ever heard of.
Mm-hmm. And it's just two people sitting in a couch, just like you are, sitting on a car, point and shoot. I don't even think it's two angles. I think it's one angle.
Yeah.
Punch in, punch out. And it ended up being the #1 show on the Oprah Winfrey Network, #1 unscripted show.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that just, my parents are together. My grandparents were together. We're together with 40 years. Are we going on 41?
Yeah.
41.
Oh my gosh. In November, it'll be 41.
Yep.
We know folks that are together. Now, we also try to mentor, and we're going to have some shows talking about how to stay together and all that kind of stuff, because I think people need to understand more about how to do that, because they don't. But there's just
at least have models and understand models of how to do it. You know, you have to see it modeled before you see
Right.
It goes back to what I said earlier, representation matters. So we just need to see more loving couples like yourselves out there in the forefront, in the limelight, advocating for marriage, especially in this generation and age. My generation don't want to be married. We want to be married to the bag. So we need more people like you showing us the benefits of marriage.
Yeah, well, we were talking about that too, because this whole thing of you got to have a high value man and stuff like that. Seriously, if Clyde was so high value when I met him, he wouldn't have paid attention to me.
I was high value.
You were high value, baby. But I mean, you know, we grew together. We made this thing happen together, and
I think that's the thing. A lot of times
you would have been looking for. Clyde had a crush on Jasmine Guy and Halle Berry. I tell you a funny story. We went to the NAACP Awards, and he saw Jasmine Guy. She was sitting in back of us. That brother's head turned like the Exorcist. And then one time I tried to give him I told him he had a pass if he could get a free pass for Halle Berry.
We were talking. I said, Vicki, can I get
Time out. I thought his pass was Dorinda Clark Cole.
No.
He
signed her. He signed her. So no, he loved her. He had a crush on her, but that was
Steve. So I said, Vicki, you know, let me get this pass for Halle Berry. You know, she said, oh yeah, okay. And so, I went to the store, and it had to be less than an hour later, less than 20 minutes later. She ringed me. She said, hey. She said, no, you can't have that pass.
I took it back. I thought about she's so nice. She was very nice women. No, because you might really meet her with the stuff we're doing. So
right.
That's
out.
Give me that pass back. Oh, that's okay, baby.
So you've been, okay, you also did the executive. You did something with Oprah Winfrey. Tell us about that.
After the success of Black Love, I did 2.5, 3 seasons there. And I had the opportunity to speak directly with Miss Winfrey, because what the blessing of Black Love was, it was independent, and we sold it to the network as an acquisition. So we could do what we wanted to do, right? So not only did I produce, but I marketed it. So imagine OWN, who doesn't necessarily do off-channel marketing. Most of their marketing for their stuff is on, you're watching Have and Have-Nots, and then you see coming up next, something else. And so imagine me with my marketing background from Creed to Hateful Eight, etc.
Right.
I had billboards all across Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta, every major city where we were, where chocolate people were. I had a billboard, a bus station, a bus bench, on the back bumper of the bus. So OWN is now starting to pay attention. Who is this Steve Jones, who's a producer, but is also making it happen? And so I got invited to a couple events by Miss Winfrey. I'm going to say, but I'm going to give you the best event, was a screening of a TV show. And I had already seen the show. And so I went upstairs to go eat. And who was there? Miss Winfrey. And she looked at me and she said, Black love. And I said, if that's the only way you know me, that's a good way to know me. And so he started thanking me for creating this love vertical, because if you watch the show now, there's a lot of love dating shows and other shows that came behind us because of the vertical that we created. And she literally said to me, what do you want to do? Wow. And that was my elevator pitch. And I pitched it and I subbed it out. And long story short, that conversation turned into my first TV special as an executive producer on OWN. And it was for something called the Wearable Art Gala. And Beyonce is a part of the gala. We honored her. And so guess what? I was able to get her on the special. First interview with Beyonce in 6 years, because she controls everything. So that was a big deal for the network and for me, and just a blessing. So that's the project you're talking about.
Wow. Did you do that with Tina Knowles, her mom? Because that's where the Wearable Art Gala is.
Yes. Tina Knowles and Richard Lawson, they own the Wearable Art Gala, which is an extension of the Waco Theater in North Hollywood. Yes. So I was on the board for that organization for the Wearable Art Gala. And so since I had that access, when I had that moment with Miss Winfrey, I knew 2 + 2 is 4. I don't know it all, but I do know my basic arithmetic and my math. I said 2 + 2 is 4. Give me a show. And so that debuted in June of 2019 to awesome ratings. And I'm excited about that. I'm very proud of that project.
And we're proud of you too. Speaking of galas, honey, what did you think about that Met Gala?
All right. I was in New York that particular week. I was right around the buzz, but I didn't get to watch because I had a lot of projects going on. But I did see the fashion afterward.
Right.
I mean, the Met is about taking risks, right? So I'm not mad at nobody. I'm not mad at anybody. But no names. I'm not mad at anybody. But there were some interesting looks. What did you think?
I felt that not enough people followed the assignment. They were just wearing clothes. And so that's what bothered me more than anything. There's a theme. And I wanted to see that theme. I wanted to see what they're going to do with the America, whatever it was, theme. And I didn't see enough of that. So I liked seeing so many people of color so prominent. But overall, I was underwhelmed. There was no Beyonce. There was no Cardi B. There was no Lady Gaga. These kind of people that I was really looking forward to seeing, because they always bring it in fashion.
And I thought Rihanna was going to do it. She made us wait for like 9 hours. And then
she was trying to run and back. I don't think she even wanted to be there. I mean, it was fabulous. But for Rihanna, Met Gala, no. So she was still gorgeous, you know. But, and I wear Fenty, so, you know.
Okay, get your endorsement deal. Somebody might be out there listening even now.
That's right.
Is there one from Fenty Beauty?
That's right. Because I'm doing Fenty. I really do like the brand. But, you know, one of my things is Vicki being messy. So I'm getting ready to be a little messy. First of all, I've heard, honey, there is a Hollywood strike that is getting ready to happen. And I guess what they're looking for is higher wages, larger contributions to health and pension plans, longer rest periods, residuals for content aired on streaming services. And I want to know, what is your thought about all this? Because it seems like when they have strikes, people really lose out on jobs.
I pulled up. You saw me lean over. I pulled up. I did a little research because I thought this might come up today.
Okay.
So I found out that the people who are organizing the strike, they are called the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. Okay. So they represent more than 60,000 BTS, behind the scenes workers. So that goes from set designers, costume designers, video engineers, everybody BTS. And so they're basically saying what they're being offered for streaming content is not comparable to what they would receive for standard TV. And what the industry is trying to do is lessen the impact of streaming, but we know streaming is the now,
it's the
right?
future.
That's
And
right.
now,
It's not even the future.
this
It's
now.
the now. So
Yeah.
what you're not going to do is tell me I'm not going to be able to make the regular wages that I would normally make. Now I have two things that I want to bring up with you guys to get your expert, because I'm the baby on the call, so I'm gonna get y'all's expert point of view.
So you growing up fast.
So check this. First thing, I've learned to train myself to see the good in everything. When we had that writer's strike in 2007 going into 2008, it was terrible for a lot of people. However, it birthed so much content. People began to get creative. Reality TV was seriously born, if you will. Needy Leaks and The Housewives, Bravo was born out of that strike, right? So who knows? If we move to a strike, maybe there'll be another resurgence of creativity for people behind the scenes to come up with new content. So I want to throw that out there to you guys to see what you thought on my positive spin. Because
I just know some of the people that were out of work because of it, you know, and I felt so bad about that, them being out of work. So I don't know. But I mean, the other side of it, which is still a little messy, is representation in Hollywood. It just goes back and forth. And I was talking about the Squid Game, Nickelodeon's Squid Game, which I loved it.
Me too.
Oh,
Nickelodeon.
Oh, Lord.
Netflix.
Netflix. Why is that Nickelodeon? That's not a Nickelodeon show at all. Can you imagine the kids would be traumatized? I knew it started with an N. Okay. Netflix. And I love
You was
Netflix.
close. You was close. You was in the family.
I love Netflix. Love Netflix. But it was so good to see that it was an all-Asian, all-Korean cast. And we were told when I was younger that you always had to have a white lead, like The Last Samurai or something like that. It had to be a white person, a male or something like that. We're seeing representation, but it comes and goes. I know in the Emmys, they were upset. I think it was Emmys because there were not more black folks winning. But you know what? The Crown was everything. I'm sorry, but listen, you know, sometimes it just be what it be.
Yeah, in the sense that you got to acknowledge if it's just because you're black, you don't need.
You don't have to.
You gotta come correct. Now, there were good shows,
when you
compare some of these other shows were like.
But The Crown, those old girls were acting in The Crown to me. And so I was like, where does it get to be too much? What do you say about all this representation, and when is it going? When is it an equal playing field?
Great question. I love that I'm talking to y'all. I'm still having a little out-of-body experience moments. Like, okay. Also, I want to shout out Keandra. She finally made it to the comments. Keandra Lockett.
You see me, Keandra?
I saw that says Jolie Noir.
Yes.
What's up, Keandra? Dear friend, and love her. All right. Representation, diversity. I find it interesting that every year when we have a breakout film, such as a breakout film or TV show, such as the Squid Games, such as Best Man Holiday when it came back and broke records, such as, what's the wedding show that was an Asian show, guys? The wedding movie. It just escaped.
Crazy Rich Asians. That was great.
Every time we have a succession of wins for people of color, the media bounces back and they say, surprisingly, this project grows. When is it going to stop being a surprise? And when is Hollywood going to realize that we are a commodity? That what we bring has value, and we don't need anybody else to help us to increase that value. We're here, and we've been proving ourselves since before I was born, since before you were born. Black folks have been standing in their power, standing in their truth, and showing their relevance to the culture. We create, we don't shift culture. We are the culture. Right? So to me, I'm tired. I have unfollowed all of those major trades. I've unsubscribed because I don't want to subscribe to that narrative. First of all, we're believers, so we subscribe to a kingdom narrative. So I don't even want to hear what you all are saying about what's going to sell and what's not going to sell, and diversity doesn't sell. And then if it works domestically, then the studios will say, well, it works domestically, but it won't work overseas. Don't put your limitations on my dreams and on my God. So that's how I feel about everything that's going on. I'm not surprised in the least by Squid Games, and I pray that it's more of an open door for content for Koreans, for the Asian community, for everybody to do what it is that they've dreamed of doing. Now's the time. If you have a concept and you're on this, now's the time to hit the ground running. And I want to add this. You didn't ask this, but I want everyone to know I funded this Clark Sisters project out of my pocket. There was no network attached.
Okay.
And you, my mentors, you know what it is to produce on this level. You know what it
takes.
But these networks are not going to respond. First of all, if I took the Clark Sisters out, as relevant as they are, as big as the biopic was last year, if I took this out to networks to front and to partner, I would have been turned down. So instead of waiting for a yes, I created my yes.
Yes.
I'm not listening to anybody else. I funded it myself. I got the talent myself.
Yes.
I interviewed the guests myself.
You sure did.
And then handed it over to my team and oversaw it myself. Right. So I don't think that we should be listening to these negative forecasts, if you will, because they're really out of touch with the culture and what's going on today in society.
Exactly. And I think even in terms of the Black diaspora, as we say, we haven't even touched most of the stories because we've been so, I don't know if enamored, but I think one side of the population has been with slavery that we've not talked about so many real things. And I remember the stories. My husband's from Haiti. My daughter's younger. She has a whole different set of experiences and fashions and what she could be. And so I'm really excited to see with people like your Black sci-fi. I mean, what's his name? Jordan Peele.
Yes, that's him.
That's with the sci-fi, but there are so many great stories out there. I'd like to even know what some of you guys would like to see as great stories. Give us some
tell us in the comments what type of stories do you feel have not been told yet. I want to take an opportunity here while we're waiting on those comments to shout out Queen Sugar. I don't keep up with it as much now, but imagine a family of farmers. We had never seen that before, and we come from sharecroppers. If you check generations back, so tell a story, and if it's good storytelling, it's gonna connect. It's gonna land. So to your point, she brought a whole new POV we haven't done before. And what? No slaves. No slaves.
Right. That's right. And we all didn't come from slaves, and some of us had slaves. Okay, now I'm making it real messy.
You know, like. No, I'm just gonna say, in the music industry, it's about the song. You know, in your industry, it's about the story, and so how you bring that story. And so, we just, I commend the Koreans. They put out some really good films. If you go back and look at them,
Koreans know how to tell stories.
You do that. You keep doing your best, and it'll pop. It'll pop. So. My thing is keep doing your best. Do those things that you're inspired to do, and then it'll pop for you.
And before I totally get messy again, let's talk one more time for those who are just coming in about your show coming this Sunday.
Yes.
Tell us about that again.
I need y'all in the comment section to pray. It's Vicki messy time. I might need to phone a friend. I'm nervous in the service. My God. My show is coming out this Sunday on Fox Soul, which is a streaming division of Fox. And so the ways you can watch the Clark Sisters special, which features Jermaine Dupri, Faith Evans, Lataillade, so many others. Yes. You can download the Fox Soul app on your phone free of charge and stream it to your TV. Or if you don't want to do that, you can go to YouTube and type in Fox Soul, and you can watch it on live stream right there, which is so easy. My parents are YouTube fanatics. If you don't want to do either of those, you can go to fox.com. and you can watch it right there on the website. So that's 3 opportunities for you to stream, which is why we picked Fox as our partner, if I may. We had 2 other situations that, of course, I shared with all of you, and I felt like Fox gave us the best reach for our special. So, yes, my special will be out. It's featuring Vicki, Mack, Lataillade. I said your name like that because in the DVD from 2003, remember Dorinda at the end, she said, "Give it up for Vicki, Mack, Lataillade, and Claude Lataillade." And I would be watching at home like, I'm going to know them.
You sure do.
Big man.
You sure do.
Didn't he do it? Won't he will?
Yes, he
And he
will.
will continue.
Yes,
He will continue. You know what? I wanted to give a shout out to Tina Ansa, who just came on. Tina had was a part of a business that some of us never think about, and I think she's doing it on her own.
Yes, Tag.
It's yeah, it's called Tag. And what she does is they make the bags for the Oscars, the Emmys, the Grammys, all that. It's a business that a lot of people don't think about. And I just wanted to give her a shout out because she has a business where she gets products and makes sure the celebrities get them.
But she does them in film and TV now as well.
Yeah, film and TV now as well. So I want you to know her too, because it's a fascinating business to me, you know, and something people don't think about every day.
First of all, thank you for putting me up on game. But the Lord has blessed me to know Tina already. That's my friend. And she's amazing. She's helped with Hollywood Confidential. She gave us a sponsor called Bumble, which is a dating app, for our Tiffany Haddish event, and introduced me to all the partners of Tag, and invited me to the Grammy gifting suite with my different clientele over the years. So that's a true friend and a great person as well.
Yes. My daughter and her, she's like a daughter of ours, and she's best friends. Okay. But yeah, this is what we're all about too, showing people other things that they can do and making them aware of what's going on out there. I keep saying I'm getting messy. Okay, so here it is. Sage, what's her last name? From ESPN, Steele. From ESPN, honey. Okay. I want to talk to you about cancel culture, and sometimes do people deserve to be canceled? Recently, for those of you guys who've been watching the news, Sage made a couple of comments. The first one was that women know what they're doing when they just dress provocatively. And she does the sports on ESPN, and I watched her up until this point. But she also said that she would not, if she saw a young person or a person that was interested in getting in the business and they weren't dressed what she considered appropriately, she would not take them out to lunch. She would not help them. And she would not go anywhere with them because she said she didn't want to be represented like that. A little bit more that she said was that
what a mentor?
Not if you're not dressed right, I guess. And also that she considers herself biracial, which I didn't know. She just looks black to me, so she presents black to me. But she is biracial, and she said she had a problem, it sounded like, with Barack Obama checking the black box because the father wasn't present. So why is he talking about being black? Honey, what do you think about all of this and cancer culture in general?
Okay.
I think about to cancel somebody.
Tammy and Mr. Lataillade. I want to confirm with you all, she's really getting messy when she says the word honey. Am I right?
Yeah, she tries to soften it a little.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on one accord. I'm not even going to look at her. This is very messy. No, I'm just kidding. I can handle this degree of messy. So, what are my thoughts on cancel culture? I think I see the pros and cons of cancel culture. If I can do that, it might sound like I'm talking out of two sides of my mouth, but when it infringes upon our civil liberties, our First Right Amendments, we should be able to freely say what we need to say based under the Constitution, right? So when we begin doing things that infringe upon our liberties, I get nervous. I do. I'm going to be fully transparent with you. However, when the things that we say out of our mouths are dangerous, when they're not factual, when they're not proven, statistical data, then I do think, and it can be harmful, not necessarily to ourselves, but to others, especially young folks, or if you're targeting a particular group with hate speech, no names, then maybe your Twitter should be muted because, all right, let's not go there. God bless him wherever he may be. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But I do believe that there is a time and a place, but I think that there should be a time and a place, and everyone shouldn't be relegated to the sea, if you will, of cancel culture. With this young lady, I do feel like her comments were ignorant, then offensive. I thought they were first ignorant because, and ignorant's not a bad word, right? You're just not educated. Somebody needs to educate you. And the same way she identifies as biracial, how dare you say that the man of God, Barack Obama, can't identify as biracial? So you already canceling your own self with your argument out of your own mouth. That's number one with her. But as a whole, I've worked with so many controversial figures in my career, faith-based and mainstream. The most recent, and in 2019, I had the opportunity to help with the music side of the Kanye West Sunday service. And he is a very polarizing figure.
Yes.
And do I think he should have been canceled for some of the things that he said? All I have to say is this: there's a place and a time, and I don't think that everyone should be relegated to being canceled. I think you should hear them out and then use your best judgment. But cancel culture as a whole is scary to me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it is. But I have to stop for a minute so we can bow down and give all kinds of kudos to Miss Melba Moore, who joined. Melba Moore, wow. Yeah, we all got to stop and just. She was at it way before us, and you know, she's been such a role model for us. So I just wanted to stop to say that. But I mean, I think some people like Dave Chappelle, because he talks about the trans community. I've listened to him, and I think it's hilarious, and I think he, you know, I don't think it's as bad as some people think. But I think it's who you are and what you're doing. And I think when you're a person that presents as a Black woman on a sports show, that you have a certain kind of responsibility as a woman of color and as a woman, period. I mean, if you're mentoring, I used to have classes for my office because I wanted them to present themselves a certain way. So we had etiquette classes and all of that because sometimes people just don't know. Just like people going to church. I saw a woman at church who had everything out except just a little. And I was just like, oh my gosh. But you know, sometimes you don't tell her she can't come to church. For whatever reason she's coming to church. Or I can't say I'm not going to mentor you now. I might say, now, baby, you need to put on a little bit more clothes for me. This is how you do it. And if you want to be around bankers and blah, 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 this is what makes it work. Right. Keep your style. Keep your sway or schwa, whatever they call it. Keep your thing, your swag. But there are different ways you do it in different climates. If you're going to the club, this works. If you're going to an office, if you need money, it's a different thing. And so you've got to really brand yourself.
Preach.
I agree. You know, my thing, and I agree with you, is that cancel culture. I'm not for people taking a person's livelihood, you know, as the first pass. And so, you know, to me, it's got to be something very serious that you're going to take their livelihood from. And so, you know, some people need to be, you know, talked to say, hey, you know, you need to be educated a little bit, but, you know, not necessarily, you know, I'm just against taking a person's job.
Well, I think in some cases, especially in the case of Sage, I think she's coming from a point of pain. Because when you decide you're not Black because your father wasn't present, that's saying something else to me. That Obama, that, you know, why is he relating Black anyway? But this is why I took it. This is not what you said. But, you know, why is he relating Black anyway when his father wasn't present? Whether your father's present or not has nothing to do with genetics. You know,
but you know, some people are echoing, you know, statements that are out there, and you want to support part of that thing. You echo those.
I think she's auditioning.
Well, I'll just say this because I've had this experience here in LA. I used to be a manager for Abercrombie, and what I found is that in certain areas, some Black people presenting identify as white if their mother or certain opportunities were there, and will sometimes even say that they're Italian just to not have the difficulties of being a person of color. And some of that has been a family issue. That's been something that's been okay at home and in their community. So it seems like, to me, when I heard her, it seemed like something that's been something she's been doing for a
very
long
excited
time.
about being Italian. But Steve,
she was ignorant.
Did you hear this thing on Johnny Cash?
Oh,
Tell me.
Johnny Cash's first wife.
I think it's second.
No, his first wife. If you see pictures of her, they were kind of trying to malign her and stuff. She is black to me. And the Ku Klux Klan, and looks like Claude's sisters. The Ku Klux Klan and some other people said they were going to stop supporting Johnny Cash if he stayed with her. I want to hear about some of these stories. Or I have a story. There's a teacher who ended up marrying, her son ended up marrying my aunt. Her father passed for black because he wanted to stay with his black wife. I mean, there are a lot of interesting stories out there that that's just one of a kind. Or
was that movie back in the day called Imitation of Life? That was about that.
Imitation of Life, which was this movie was so monumental because it had Mahalia Jackson in it on the second turn with Lana Turner. And so it had faith-based in a major way as the soundtrack. And I'll never forget when she says, "Soon I will be done." I start crying immediately because it was the funeral scene where the girl who'd been passing for white says, "Mama, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry." But it's too late. She finally apologizes to her mother, who she would say was her maid, for the way she treated her. And her mother was very much a black woman.
Can I say something? For Johnny Cash's wife, she didn't know that she was black. Her father or her grandfather had been passing, so she was under the impression that she was Italian, and they actually fought it in court.
Right.
It was illegal.
I mean, it's a story.
It was illegal. They were coming against the marriage. Yeah.
She looked black. So I don't know how they ever thought
she looked like
hey, what you are, you want to be. So go ahead.
She looks like Halsey, or how do you say?
No, she doesn't look that white as Halsey. She looks more like
I saw the black and white pictures.
So I don't know. But anyway,
they just did a DNA test and just confirmed that she was black. It just happened.
What does that mean?
But tell me some of the other stories. You don't have to tell me about projects, but tell me some of the other. Tell me some of the other stories about black people and just people of color and stuff that are kind of interesting to you. You don't have to tell me about projects, but
anything that allows us. I'm borrowing from what we talked about earlier. Anything that allows us to see ourselves reflected in ways that inspires people, that encourages people, that lifts them up. That's the type of programming that I not only watch, but want to create and have been creating. So any of that type of programming, and there's a space for everything. I'm a huge fan of the programming that comes out on Stars of 50 Cents. Is it uplifting our people? Not necessarily, but I think there's a space for it. But it's not the type of content that I'll be creating. You know what I'm saying? Right. So anywhere where we can see ourselves, because we grew up in a society where they marginalize our very existence.
Can't hear you.
He's getting
they marginalized our very existence from the beginning. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. My battery went low.
Oh, as a child, I used to dream of myself as a white girl from like a Dick and Jane book. Yeah. Because this is in the 50s. I didn't see, I read Dick and Jane books. If I saw somebody black, it was Step and Fetch It or something like that. So the imagery I had in my head was totally perverted. And so when when the Black Power movement came in the 60s, I was all about that. Because I finally saw myself, and it's crazy, but I started dreaming about myself finally.
Wow.
It's very freaky, but I remember dreaming of myself as this other character, and I'm like, that's horrible, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but I actually did that with my Black self.
Which goes to what we're talking about. They literally try to marginalize our very existence through placing, I know I got some other followers, I'm trying to be politically correct, through placing white and European standards of beauty on us, and that matriculates through everything from television to film on down. So when you go for years not seeing yourselves, you crave wanting to see something that looks like you. So to your point, if all you're seeing on the commercials is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, that seeped into your subconscious, and you naturally laid hell to the fact that, I guess, white is beautiful. It never had to be said, but that's what we were served, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and my parents really had to, they said I was beautiful, my father did, and stuff like that. But it's just something in my brain. So I just, oh gosh, and maybe that's why I'm strong as the way I am now, fighting some of those thoughts and images that I had early on. But tell me something else we need to know about you. We want to know more about you and how we can support what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yo, you all know, because I actually called y'all to pray me through. I just scored a really big win. Last Christmas, let's start there. After I lost all the projects from the pandemic, I lost 2 TV shows, 4 Hollywood confidentials. I had so many exclusive things that were coming to the space for the creatives that I service, and I fell into a depression. I was out of here for 90 days. I didn't know up from down, left from right. And that kind of ties into this special. I listened to a song by the Clark Sisters every day and got out running and walking. It was called He Can. And so we featured that song on the special this Sunday. So make sure you watch that. And that licensing was expensive, so I really need you to watch it. And so once that song got me to where I needed to go, I started just reimagining, and I put myself in a place of service and start calling friends who needed help. I called a friend and became a flyer designer for the first time in 20 years. I called another friend and helped to produce an online Instagram segment for free. And then I called a third friend named Stevie Mack, and I said, hey, I know you're just a vocal coach in your mind, but I think that you should do your own project and have your own identity outside of your clientele. He immediately sent me a picture back of him in the studio working on his first Christmas project. That's how our worlds collided. And he was one of my first people I ever met out here. Already, long story short, I ended up executive producing the end of 2020 a music video with Jennifer Lopez and Stevie Mack, which opened up a beautiful relationship for myself and Jennifer. So that was in December, and just the end of last month, I was able to confirm her for Adweek, which is a major conglomerate in the marketing business world. And so they have something called, Adweek has something called Brand Week. Brand Week every year honors someone, and they call them the brand visionary. They want to honor someone who has really made their imprint on a globe, from a global perspective. And they contacted me to say, how can we work together? And long story short, I was able to parlay that opportunity with Jennifer, and she accepted. On the cover, I produced the set. I was hanging out with her in bed in New York City the other week. It was like, what is life? So that's something I'm most recently proud of, that I was able to. This business is about relationships, and I didn't understand that when I first got in.
Oh, it is.
So if somebody did me wrong, didn't pay me, if somebody was acting funny, I would just dip. I'm like, I don't need you. I know my worth. Instead of figuring out the proper language on how to set and defend boundaries, I would just be like, I'm out. Until I started to notice the pattern, I'm like, you got to do better.
Because you're not going to have any friends at all. And you start realizing people's weakness. Somebody said a week or two back, a couple of things happened, but I called them up and wished them happy birthday and all that. Because I've just learned all that petty stuff, and sometimes it's serious. It's not about all of that, and especially if you're calling yourself a Christian.
Amen.
And things come around, and sometimes things that you're upset about, they don't even remember.
Amen. Facts. On God. You preaching. So I'm most proud of that because I learned my lessons. I'm doing great with maintaining relationships and just treating people with love, and a lot of times being what you want to see or what you didn't have, which is why I do Hollywood Confidential. I didn't have those mentors. I had you all from afar in Ohio, but I didn't have your number. So now when I do Hollywood Confidential, I got it now. When I'm doing Hollywood Confidential, I'm literally doing that to reach those people just like me who don't have hands-on experience. Now we have YouTube and informationals and instructionals that we didn't have 20 years ago. So even if you don't have anyone, you can order a class. But, coming up with us, we didn't have internet. I had the DVD. I had the DVD from Gospel Centric. I bought at Walmart for $11.99. And that's all I had. And I had Gospel Roundup. Remember that book, Gospel Roundup?
Yes, that's like Lisa Collins. That's my dear friend. She's writing.
That's all I had.
Yeah, we're writing.
That's all I had. So I say that to say I'm just proud that I stayed the course, stayed the path, can work with legends like the Clark sisters in faith-based and still stay true to my start and my values, but also broker deals with Jennifer Lopez and give God the glory to it all. So
I'm not mad at you. You've got to come back on when you do your next project. Oh, gosh. We want all of our people to post, number one. Can they get the post from my post or from Steve's? Or from Steve's?
Yeah, no, quickly tell us about the time and location and release of the parks.
But we want them to know that you can post the information too on their site. Go to Steve's site.
So I'll say it one more time here, and then we'll go to your page and my page to get the information. First of all, thank you to the legends and the junior legend, the agent, for this opportunity. You don't know what this means to me. It's so full circle. Even when I saw you in the house, I just cried because of what you all meant to me. So I want to thank you for the platform, the opportunity to reconnect for such a time as this. We have a plan, and then God has a plan. And so he preserved this relationship for an optimal time. So I'm super cool, super happy to be connected with you guys. So yes, the Clark Sisters special airs on Fox Soul. Fox Soul is a division of Fox. It is their streaming app targeting creatives of color. They are epic. You can download Fox Soul on your phone for free, and you can stream the special to your TV. If you don't want to do that, you can go to YouTube and type in Fox Soul, and it will be streaming live this Sunday, 8/7 Central. If you don't want to do that, you can go to fox.com and you can watch it front page right there. 3 opportunities to watch it, and there will be more that we'll post on our social media. So I'll share that with you. You share it for your people.
We will do.
Okay.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. We love you, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Okay, we got work to do. I'm gonna call your agent.
Yeah, call my agent.
You got my number.
Thank you.
Love y'all. Thank you so much.
Love you.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Hello, what's
Thank
up?
you so much for watching Carfitable
Yes,
Talks.
thank you.
Please remember to press that like button, and we need you to subscribe. And also,
Leave some comments. We really need to hear from you.
thank you.